The third part of this realization is processing the need. What do I need? What does this need require? Is it physical, where I need some help? Is it emotional? Is it spiritual? What is exactly this need that I'm looking for healing for, I'm looking for help for, and what is it I'm wanting? See, there's this mental processing part of putting it all together. So you first become aware of it, you accept that there's a need, but then there's this processing. What exactly do I need? Then we finally arrive at a point when I begin to realize that I'm going to ask God for help.
That should have been the first one.
What's that?
Sorry. I'm just saying that should have been the first point. We should have been in our needs. We should have been asking God for that.
You're not wrong with that.
I'm sorry.
And I will say, we're talking about processes, and this is a point to point out the fact that healing is never linear. So whether we're talking healing from grief, healing from physical pain, healing from emotional, spiritual, any of these things, it's never linear. Now in our thinking, we want to say, I'm going to go from point A to point B to C to D, and I arrive at this point on my journey where I go from being hurt to healing. It's not always like that. For some people, it might be an immediate linear thing. They go right through all the steps. However, many times we might go from survival to realization to denial to survival to realization to asking God. You see, we might be bouncing around a little bit. And that's like when we were dealing with the healing of the church here, we're dealing with the grief of losing a pastor. So many times I heard people say, Pastor, I'm over it. But see, I was looking at how people were responding like, no, we're bouncing around. We're moving back and forth, we're bouncing around. And especially when you look at losing a loved one, that process is longer. It's not a snap your finger and you're over it. Now, some people might have that inner healing where it becomes almost an instantaneous thing. But know that the process is still a process, and we still might move around. It's not a linear thing. But in this stage here of asking God, we realize that I need to ask for help. And so in this, first off, is I realize that I can't do it on my own. There's that realization that it's not possible for me. And this is an important thing to come to, because before that, I'm still trying to do life for me. I'm still doing it, surviving, doing my thing, going about my way. But this is a point when there's a transition to realizing that I can't. And therefore, I'm going to ask. In that realization, I can't do it on my own, is that I'm willing to start accepting somebody to help me. Now, again, we're talking in a general sense of the process. But for a second, we're talking about this one. This is when I'm saying to God, okay, God, help me. Heal me. Work within me to transform my life. This is where, if we follow what I was talking about that first week, we talked about that white knuckle faith. This should be the point when I'm starting to loosen that grip. This should be the point when I'm starting to say, okay, God, I'm letting go. It's no longer me controlling. I'm letting you control. Which means I'm also acknowledging that only God can help me. I'm not asking my neighbor. I'm not asking my friend. I'm not asking my parents. I'm not asking a family member. I am saying that I'm going to God with this. Now, every one of us, we've had points in our lives when I'm going to somebody that I trust. Share whatever it is. It's okay, what should I do? How do you think I should handle this? Or simply just, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Because I need to get this off my chest. This is part of how I help myself, is that I let somebody else in on what's going on in my life. But this is a point when I'm saying, I acknowledge that I need God, and only God can help me. Because there's nobody in this room that's going to heal me. There's nobody in this room that's going to heal you. That is something that only God does. And that is also why when we start talking about ministry in the church, that's why I always tell you that my job is not to grow the church. My job is not to heal the church. What is my job exactly? to help you move one step closer to God, for help you to hear the good news that God loves you, and for you to understand that you need God so that you will trust Him so that He can save you, that He can restore your life and make you what He wants you to be. Those are all God's jobs. And so when we look at the church as a whole, I don't grow the church, God does. I tell you about God's love and forgiveness, in fact, that life can be better than what you know it, and that we are all called to the Great Commission, and it is God that does the growing. So when new people come in, it's not thanks to Pastor Steve. That's God. Because if I was to list off how many people I invited to church, it could get kind of a negative feeling. But that's not my job. That's God's job. But in this process, we are acknowledging that only God can meet that need. And so we begin in this stage that we are going to God and we're asking God for help. We're at this point, we're going to God, we're not going to ourselves, we're not going to self-help books. We are taking it to God for help.